What's up, y'all? So I had an interview today, and I wanted to talk about how I feel about it. Yeah, so today I had an interview with a company. I think this is for a senior software engineering position, and this was the tech screen. The format of the interview was basically 1 hour-ish. The time was 1.5 hours, but some of that was reserved for like talking. So maybe a little bit over 1 hour for implementing the beginnings of a card game. Basically, you had some state logic around displaying a deck. You had a button which discards 5 cards and draws 5 more cards. And the cards were your standard like playing card deck. So you had the four suits and the I don't remember how many like 13 values or whatever in a deck. And you also needed to display the cards that were in your hand on the page using just CSS and like no images. Now, the interviewee was there and they were kind of framing it like it was a pair programming exercise, but realistically, they did not really help me at all during the interview. If anything, they may have called out, like, oh, you should prioritize this, you should prioritize this. Oh, you have this much time left. Like, they were saying things like that, but they did not straight up tell me they did help me a little bit with some. I was having some parentheses issues in the beginning, mainly out of nervousness. I just sometimes, if I'm composing a lot of functions or doing some complicated nested code, and there's a lot of nested parentheses and brackets and arrow functions, sometimes I like lose track of like where the parentheses are, what should be closed. So that was kind of a stumbling block for me, which is a little embarrassing. But other than that, everything went like pretty smoothly. I even got like the cards to display with their value in their suit and with the reverse value on the bottom. Like it's right side up on the top and then it's upside down on the bottom using just like normal strings, Flexbox, and CSS. So how do I feel about this kind of interview? The pros are this is a pretty practical interview for everybody that's complaining in my comments about how interviews ask impractical questions. Well, this was a real like front end, like build something with HTML and CSS kind of interview. So if you think that those usual algorithm questions are impractical, well, this is about as practical as you can get realistically, at least in the space of an hour. And it was pretty broad. There were lots of opportunities to show your strengths. For downsides, I mean, it's just kind of intimidating because there's a lot to do in 1 hour. Also, with interviews like this that are like pair programming, sometimes it's like, well, are we really pair programming? Are you just watching me? Like, why frame it that way? It can be a little confusing what the role of the other person is during the interview. Anyway, that's just a quick review of an interview that I had today to give you all an idea of what it's like out there in the job market. Let me know if you have any questions.